What's good, y'all? It's the Demouchet REACT, and we're back with another video. Who we got today, C?
Today we're back with another American reaction. So excited about this video. If you're new to us
and we're new to you,
make sure you scroll down,
hit that subscribe button,
and turn on the post notification bell
because we're on the road to 200K.
And we cannot get there without you guys, alright? Join the family. Without further ado, let's get into the video.
Let's get it.
Get your bib. It's time to chow down on some World War II vittles. As World War II kicked into high gear, the United States government quickly realized that the military would be competing with the general population for resources like food, metal, rubber, paper, and various other materials. In order to make sure the armed forces got what it needed to win the war, a system of rationing was imposed. Here's how it worked. The government gave every citizen, adults and children, a certain number of points. Those points would then have to be spent, along with money, on any item restricted for use in the war effort. So, for example, in 1943, a pound of bacon would cost 7 points, in addition to its monetary price, which was about 30 cents. The points took the form of stamps, which the government would distribute in books. The Office of Price Administration, or OPA, would have volunteers distribute the books and explain their purpose to merchants and consumers alike. The first product to be rationed was tires, followed by automobiles and then gasoline. Then, in May 1942, the government began putting food products, including sugar and coffee, on the list. A few months later, meats, fish, canned milk, fats, and cheeses were also deemed restricted. Anytime a new item was added to the list, hoarders would clean the stores out, leading to shortages. Inevitably, many of the restricted goods would be traded on the black market. Despite these problems, though, the system functioned well enough. Similar restrictions were also imposed in the homelands of America's European allies. With so many basic staples being rationed, the public was going to have to get creative with cooking.
Okay, maybe that's why people don't like people who buy in bulk. Okay.
Okay, I mean, that makes sense. Yeah.
They still have, you know, that trauma from that time passed down through the generations, you know.
Yeah.
We
operating off of points.
Pandemic. Yeah.
Operating off of points.
Okay. That's a different time. But I do know that, like, some of the things that was implemented during that time, our grandparents passed down to us. You know, they love that government cheese. Yeah. That's something we still hear about today. Yeah. And the canning process, you know, being taught the canning process and having a deep freezer to store all your food and stuff like that. Deep freezer,
Lord.
Yep,
good
the
stuff
deep freezer.
Right there. Yeah.
Sponge cake is a simple delicacy, and, although many people don't realize it, it's actually been around since the Renaissance. The secret to its staying power is that it's delicious and easy to make. But during World War II, the ingredients, flour, sugar, butter, and eggs, were in heavy demand by soldiers. Eggs and sugar were especially in short supply in grocery stores around the world. The Welsh version of the sponge cake had to be made sans eggs, but with a lot of margarine, syrup, and milk. Jam was usually spread in the middle of the cake's 2 layers. It wasn't as fluffy as what modern diners are used to, but if cooked properly, it still took on a golden hue.
Okay.
Not bad.
Potato flour,
During World War II, a sobering 25% of the population of Poland was wiped out in the fighting. Germans snatched up all their land, which meant the Polish people had to do their best with what limited ingredients they still had access to. Not every meal, however, was a thing of drudgery. Potato flour sour cream, for example, was meant to be served with blueberry dumplings, which was a favorite of Polish children. The sour cream was made of milk, sugar, and potato flour, which, some of you will no doubt note, is similar to a standard recipe for whipped cream. Maria Karpowiczova, a woman who grew up outside of Warsaw, collected World War II Polish recipes. Instead of the potato flour sour cream, the kids indulge themselves because they can cover the dumplings with a copious amount of the cream.
Okay. That one don't seem that bad. The potato flour, I never had that before. Maybe I have. I don't think I have.
Potato flour sour cream with blueberries.
Yeah, that's okay. I like cottage cheese with some fruit. So, and some people may not like that. So, that one don't seem that bad.
And then the old, you know, recipe that we still use today, the flour, the egg, and sugar. And they just slap some jelly on there, some margarine. Like,
all he care about is the jelly.
It's pretty good. Yeah, it's me. I know it's a good stretch, though. I feel like that's a good, you know, sweetener you have. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, mock fish. Mock? Please don't tell me it's like an imitation cheese.
Mock fish fillet? I hope it's the real thing we talking.
I'm hoping. Because imitation cheese is not cheese.
In England, cooks did their best to keep some semblance of dietary normalcy. One of the ways they did this was by frying what came to be called mock fish fillets. The fillets were cooked in the same way as an actual fish fillet, but with rice. To make mock fish fillets, they mixed rice and egg into a half-inch thick pan of fried rice. Chilled it, then cut it into fillets. They breaded the fillets, if bread was available, and then they were fried again until they had a golden appearance.
Did y'all catch that? Economy of meatloaf. Did y'all catch that? So it's not fish.
It was rice.
It's rice and egg. And it just like, I guess jam-packed it and made a little small thing with it, you know?
That sounds like it would be good.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like we eat that. How they cooked it is different, but we all been there.
Yeah.
We've been there.
Demand for meat during World War II, as one could imagine, was extremely high. Those on the front lines received most of the meat, so things had to change back home. Restaurants started using meatless menus on certain days of the week, and advertisers took to sharing meatless recipes, including things like creamed eggs over pancakes and walnut cheese patties. Home chefs, for their part, started coming up with new and interesting ways to stretch what they had, or they just outright created new recipes. For example, a staple of the early 20th century was meatloaf, made from ground beef and various ingredients, formed into a loaf and baked. But during World War II, cooks began substituting vegetables to make an economical meal. Rather than ground beef, this loaf contained a cup of peas, a cup of mashed potatoes, and a can of condensed tomato soup. It wasn't quite the same as a real meatloaf, but it was an efficient way to get some vegetables
the cabana,
and use leftovers.
Whoa, wait a minute. I thought we was just putting it all together on the plate, separated. Whoa, what's this?
Meatloaf. Well, meatless loaf.
Bro, y'all could have it would have been more. It would have been more for the taste, you know what I'm saying? Like, we used to the potatoes, and then you got the meatloaf, and then you got the peas, and then you got a cup of drink. But this is, now I know why you was making that face.
I was trying to picture it, and this didn't make it no better. Look, I'm over here staring at it.
Here it is.
No.
Oh, bro. Would y'all go for a plate or two for this one? Let me know. Bubble and Squeak.
I've heard of this before.
What is that?
A big part of rationing was using leftovers to make food last as long as possible. So a lot of meals were basically thrown together from odds and ends. Bubble and Squeak, for example, wasn't one specific kind of recipe, although there was one basic necessity: mashed potatoes. During rationing, potatoes remained widely available because they were easy to grow. Best of all, from a cooking perspective, they took on whatever flavors were impressed upon them. When used in Bubble and Squeak, mashed potatoes turned every dinner into a kind of potato pancake, usually filled with whatever meat and veggies were around. Baking without flour may sound damn near impossible, but when this staple was scarce, people living in occupied Poland found various ways to make do. In many cases, this meant using beans instead of flour. Of course, beans don't have the same taste or consistency as flour, but when boiled down and minced, they become malleable and can be sweetened and worked into a cake.
I haven't
Beans
done that.
also
Nope.
taste.
No. You've done it before.
I didn't do that one before.
Let me know how you did it. So you took beans and you made a cake out of it.
Yeah, we grinded them. That's when I was so young. I was trying new recipes.
I just want to hear the truth.
I wanted to try things, but no, not like that picture. No.
Yeah, starting from the bottom, using what you got, bro. That's what it's about. They didn't go hungry now.
Rather, they have an earthy flavor. But the creative Polish chefs had a fix for that too. Namely, they added 6 tablespoons of sugar to the recipe. So it was probably quite tasty.
Onion stuffed with grape nuts.
Vegetables were plentiful in America during World War II, mainly because they couldn't be sent to the soldiers. Fresh fruit and veggies were impossible to ship overseas without spoiling, so Americans were told to fill up on them. Eventually, the government even began to urge citizens to plant their own so-called victory gardens, reasoning that if the people were able to grow and can their own vegetables, it would free up more factory space for war-related manufacturing. Onions are a prime example of a vegetable that was easy to grow and extremely hardy. And in the 1940s...
Time out. I like that he even said that at one time they were told to start growing their own vegetables. We in the times where people just need to know to do that. Like, if you're not at some part of your scale of life of not growing so, I remember we grew like a little small miniature mango tree. Oh, it was working out so well. I have the whole loop of it. You know what I'm saying? That my dog ate it. But it's not the point. The point was we was in the process of growing something. So it's just the knowing that they had that initiative to say, hey, we need y'all to start growing so we can kind of help out the environment, bro. Like, well, we have in our headspace today with this.
They must have been telling the Northerners this.
Because, man.
To grow things.
Because, yeah.
Cooks began stuffing them with various ingredients.
The South was
Grape
already
nuts,
doing this.
everybody's favorite bland, eardrum-piercing cereal, which for the record contains neither grapes nor nuts, and is actually made from wheat and barley, was an American staple at the time. Even though most people still consider this cereal tasteless, it still has its uses in the kitchen. For one, it gave a stuffed onion a consistency similar to an onion stuffed with ground beef. With the right amount of spices, this dish might even make a tasty appetizer today.
See, if y'all came down to our people down the street, we still make stuffed bell peppers and some stuffed melatonin.
Yeah.
You know,
we just talked about that.
I ain't never heard of no stuffed onion.
Stuffed onion. Man.
I love roasted onion. I love roasted onion. But
so basically how I picture a stuffed onion is so like, you know, you get the base of the onion and you take all the rest of the rings out and then you just stuff it with whatever it is you want to stuff it with.
Right.
Yeah, okay, fried onion rings is bomb.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? You can use an onion for a gravy if you like.
Right.
So that I feel like if you match it, it can hit.
It depends what you're putting in it.
It can hit if you match it right. You know what I'm saying? I gave the onion I give it a stretch. You know what I'm saying? It can work out.
We're gonna have to try.
Will we?
We're gonna have to try.
Okay.
Coffee is a must-have for many people, but during World War II, pretty much every coffee bean in America was shipped overseas, making coffee one of the hardest things to ration. In what will sound like the ultimate nightmare in today's era, where at least one Starbucks is on every corner, Americans were limited to going through 1 pound of coffee every 5 to 6 weeks. That meant they were drinking less than 1 cup a day.
Less than.
Americans who absolutely had to have a cup of joe started making Roosevelt coffee, which was named for Franklin Delano Roosevelt, who was president at the time. Roosevelt coffee was really just coffee made with reused grounds. It was typically pretty watery and was likely a mediocre substitute for the real thing, but people got creative with it. Sometimes ingredients like chicory and postum were mixed with the coffee. The chicory added spice to the coffee, while postum is a coffee substitute made of wheat bran, wheat, molasses, and maltodextrin.
Going in your backyard, okay. Beef
Cow's tongue is huge, rubbery, and tough. Not exactly a thing a typical American family sits down to enjoy if they had any real alternatives. But during World War II, American families were only able to buy meat products such as tongue and feet, which made for interesting twists on classic dishes. Beef tongue, for example, wasn't just served as a big tongue on a plate. Instead, it was presented in something closer to a casserole. Braised beef tongue will be fairly recognizable. One modern recipe calls for carrots, onions, celery, and tomato sauce, plus the tongue. To get the tongue into an edible consistency, it had to be boiled for 2 hours, then baked for another 2, in a casserole surrounded by vegetables.
It's getting worse. All right. I feel like tongue is in a lot of cultures. People eat tongue.
Yeah.
Cow head, pig, like different parts of the pig.
Our people eat pig.
They all eat it.
Ears.
It's a no for me though. Tongue casserole, I would not. You know what I'm saying? You gotta like really hit it a home run for me to say I'm gonna eat it. Like it gotta make sense for me.
There's some parts of our soul food that I'm like, oh yeah, that's soul food. That's nice, but I'm not eating that. I'm not eating no chitlins. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Hey.
I remember being a child. They made a plate of chitlins for me. A bowl, whatever you want to call it.
Come on, man.
And they set that in front of me.
Come on, man.
Woo! Just know that they called my daddy to come get me, baby, because I wasn't eating that.
Bro, just put a little hot sauce on and you're going to be all right.
No!
Yeah. Put a little seasoning Tony on there, you know? Yeah.
Tony don't fix everything.
Not everything.
Hot sauce don't fix everything.
Trying to help you out here. Okay.
Listen.
Yo, but this is crazy. Some spit soup.
Consistency, it had to be boiled for 2 hours, then baked for another 2, in a casserole surrounded by vegetables.
What is this?
Spit soup. probably doesn't have the most appealing name in the history of culinary innovations. But the dish itself is actually tasty. The soup was created in occupied Poland as a way to make use of excess barley. Poles no longer had access to many of the foods that made their cuisine so rich. Proteins like oysters and anchovies were off the table, as were items as simple as chestnuts. So to survive during World War II, Poles made a soup out of barley, a hearty cereal. But why did they give the dish such an unappealing name? Well, it came about because while eating the soup, they had to spit out the husks.
Oh, man, it's just like eating seed grapes with seeds in it. You know what I'm saying? You just gotta spit them big things out. Like, so I mean, I understand.
Okay,
but
the name threw it off. But that was okay. That was okay.
Threw way off.
Yeah.
Okay, vegetarian chopped liver.
Chopped liver is a traditional Jewish recipe that uses schmaltz and gribenes, or chicken fat and cracklings, to fortify the chopped liver that makes up most of the dish. During World War II, Jewish families were advised to stretch out their food rations, which might mean using breadcrumbs to reinforce meals or making a vegetarian version. This vegetarian version of this dish was made using fresh fruits and vegetables, and whatever else may have been growing in victory gardens. Home chefs often swapped out the meat for green beans, peas, onions, crackers, and hard-boiled eggs, if eggs happen to be available. You're probably thinking that sawdust in this context is the name for some sort of food, but it's not. It's just regular, ordinary sawdust. You see, people living in England and Germany during World War II didn't have the vast fields of wheat America enjoyed, so they mixed what little they had with actual sawdust, which was sometimes euphemistically called tree flour. One German recipe for black bread called for half rye grain, 2 parts sliced beets, 2 parts sawdust, and 1 part minced leaves and straw. Everything was mixed together and baked like normal.
I don't even like how that looked.
I don't know about this one. I don't know about this one.
They was really in need now. I mean, to be sawdust in food.
I understand. Listen.
There's different things you can pull from the tree, but not the actual tree.
Sawdust.
I feel like there's so many more options, but why sawdust? It's forcing it.
Sawdust.
Give me 2 cups of that sawdust in too there. Just make sure that sawdust is in there. I need that sawdust.
Okay, listen. Now I know in our culture we still have a lot of foods that has been passed down from generations that we still eat.
You think?
You know what?
You think they passed this one down?
I'm asking.
It's just a question.
Please tell me it's been substituted now. Because if we come to y'all house and y'all offering what this called?
This is called
sawdust.
Sawdust. I forgot.
Chicken breast.
I forgot what this is called.
Sawdust.
Man,
bread.
this is a sawdust cake if you ask me. And I ain't mad at nobody. It's just different. It's different, and I get it.
It was some hard times they was on. You know, they had to support the army. I understand.
Yeah, 100%. Shout out. But it's other ways, bro. Like Canada pulled the syrup from the tree. I'm just saying, they found it. You know what I'm saying? It's just... I worked in the mill. I know what sawdust looked like. Fiberglass, all that stuff, man.
Yeah.
We're gonna keep going.
Just let me know that this one didn't make the cut. Y'all didn't pass this one down, right?
It doesn't really sound too yummy, but hey, in times of war, you eat what you have to survive.
Facts.
Well, I don't know who's gonna survive after so many pieces of it.
I don't know how that was gonna clear. Yeah, like that's.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Very interesting list.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get me wrong. I still see today possibly some of these foods still doing their thing.
Yeah. Pass down.
Really though. Yeah. But that's one we want to know if y'all actually passed that one down. I would like to know how's it being made today, because there's a evolution towards certain dishes, how you prep it differently and stuff. So
exactly, a lot of our dishes now, we change the ingredients up on them. Yeah. So let us know. All right. We hope you guys enjoyed this video with us. Be sure to subscribe. We'll see you soon. Peace.